Nobody expected the Carolina Panthers to look this alive again. A team that started the season buried under doubt is suddenly turning heads, clawing its way back into the conversation. At 3-3, they've done something few saw coming. The spark isn't luck or coincidence. It's a return to something that actually works. Bryce Young isn't playing hero ball, he's playing smart football, and it's changing everything. The energy around Carolina feels different, and fans can sense it. You can see it in how they open drives, how the sideline reacts, and how opponents are starting to take them seriously again. This rise didn't happen overnight. It began when they stopped chasing the perfect highlight and started trusting the process that carried them late last season. Back then, Bryce looked confident against teams like Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay because the offense had rhythm and direction. Dave Canales has quietly rebuilt that same rhythm. The Panthers are controlling tempo, protecting possessions, and finding balance that makes defenses guess. What's unfolding isn't just a few lucky wins, it's a team remembering who they are. But here's the twist that makes this story worth watching. The same formula that saved them once is starting to look even stronger now. The run game is back, the offensive line is moving bodies, and the entire locker room believes again. It's not just momentum, it's identity. And if that identity keeps growing, it could change the entire NFC South race. Because what's fueling Carolina right now isn't hype. It's something much more dangerous for the rest of the league. It's belief. And that belief starts with how they're running the football, which takes us straight into their new ground attack that's rewriting everything about this offense. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Panthers and all the NFL content. Can we get 200 likes on this video? Nobody saw the Carolina Panthers flipping the script this fast. 2 weeks ago, the talk was all about mistakes and pressure. Then the ground game punched the door open and would not let go. Rico took the ball against Miami and never blinked. He finished with 23 carries for 206 yards and 1 touchdown, including a burst that went the distance. The shock was not the long run. The shock was everything in between. Tough yards, first downs. A steady heartbeat that quieted the noise and settled Bryce into clean, simple football. The next test came with extra emotion against Dallas, and Rico backed up every word. He stacked 30 carries for 183 yards, and added 5 catches for 56 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. That is back-to-back games with more than 200 yards from scrimmage, the kind of production that changes a locker room. Chuba was out with a calf issue, so the staff kept the plan simple. Feed the hot hand, win the line of scrimmage, make the defense tackle all night. It worked because the line created lanes, and the backs hit them without hesitation. Here is what makes this more than a short streak. Chuba is working back, Trevor is ready to spell late, and the line is finding a rhythm that travels. When the rotation returns, the goal should not be splitting touches for the sake of it. The goal is keeping that downhill rhythm alive so defenses have to load the box and respect every carry. That is how play action turns into clean throws for Bryce. And that is exactly where we are headed next, because the numbers behind this formula tell a bigger story about why the offense looks sharper and why the passing plan is finally making sense. Carolina Panthers found a pattern that turns stress into control. When the offense leans on the run and builds throws off play action, Bryce gets clean looks, and the ball comes out on time. The moment they push volume passing, the cracks show. That is why the number that matters are not yards, it is attempts. When attempts stack up, decision speed drops and defenses tee off. When the ground game sets the rhythm, reads get simple, windows get honest, and the chain keeps moving. Look at the proof. Against Atlanta, Bryce went 16 of 24 for 121 yards, and the team cruised because the plan protected possessions and let the defense eat. In Arizona, he posted 3 passing touchdowns with 1 interception, but also had a lost ball that became 6 the other way, and he was asked to throw 55 pass attempts, which is too much for any plan built on balance. Dallas showed the clean version of this idea. The 1 pick came off the hands of Tetairoa McMillan, which means Bryce played a smart game and avoided the self-inflicted mistakes that haunted the first 2 weeks. Now add the pieces that make this model hum. Under center snaps marry the run fake with quick single read throws to Tedairoa McMillan outside and Hunter Renfrow inside, with Jalen Coker easing back to add a steady target. The point is not pretty stats. It is control. If Carolina keeps the attempts in a range that fits this identity, Bryce does not have to chase the game. He guides it. That sets the stage for the real question that decides the season. Can he carry this smarter version of himself into hostile road games where the margin is thin and every snap tests his growth? Carolina Panthers need Bryce Young calm when the noise gets loud. At home, he looks poised, focused, and in command. On the road, the picture shifts. The record says 1-5 away from home, and that number carries real weight. It tells you the environment still tests his timing, his voice at the line, and his trust in the first red. Nobody is asking him to be the weekly savior. The ask is simple: protect the ball, move the sticks, finish in the red zone. The last 2 weeks point to a better version of Bryce. He managed rhythm, took smart throws, and cut out the wild plays that give teams life. In Miami, he strung together clutch completions and capped a drive with the winner to Mitchell Evans. Against Dallas, the turnover tied to Tedairoa McMillan's hands did not rattle him, and you could see his confidence in the middle of the field. That is the blueprint. Quick decisions, clean footwork, and trust that the run game will keep windows honest. When he plays within that frame, the offense breathes and the defense stays fresh. Now comes the real exam: road pressure, tight coverage, and third down moments that swing a game. If Bryce brings this steadier style into those spots, the ceiling rises fast. If he presses, the same problems return. The good news is he does not have to carry this alone. Carolina's front has started to move people, and that changes everything for a young quarterback in tough stadiums. Which leads to the group that turns belief into yards, the offensive line that has found its stride even while key starters heal. Carolina Panthers found muscle where most fans do not look, in the trenches. Even with starters missing time, the group kept the engine running. Cade Mays stepped in at center, and the snap issues that hurt early vanished. Brady Christensen settled the right guard spot, and Taylor Moton's absence did not break the edge because the unit moved as one. Damian Lewis has been the tone setter, pulling across the formation and clearing alleys that let backs hit daylight without hesitation. This is why the run game holds up week after week. The interior wins first contact, the double teams climb with timing, and the backside seals keep cut lanes alive. Austin Corbett has opened his return window, Robert Hunt is working back, and that means competition that makes a good room even stronger. Depth is not a slogan here, it is production. Different names, same push, same trust, that short yardage can be power football and long drives can stay on schedule. Protection has grown with the ground surge. Bryce gets cleaner pockets, clearer platforms, and simpler reads because this line marries every fake with the same look. That is how you drain a pass rush and own the tempo. It is also how you help a quarterback stay calm when chaos builds. Keep that standard and the offense keep its balance. Now shift the focus to the other side. Because a defense that once bent is starting to stand tall and change games at the line of scrimmage. Carolina Panthers changed the fight at the line of scrimmage. Last season, the run defense sank to the bottom. This season, it has climbed into top 10 territory and is playing with real control. Derek Brown is the anchor, winning first contact and squeezing gaps that used to leak chunk plays. Bobby Brown brings sturdy snaps inside, Tershawn Wharton flashes quickness on stunts, and Patrick Jones adds steady edge work that sets firm edges instead of chasing. The front is not guessing, it is dictating. The shift shows up in game flow. Against Jacksonville and Arizona, the interior clog lanes, force third and long, and let the rush arrive on schedule. Adjustments have teeth now, fronts slide to take away cutbacks. And linebackers fit downhill with purpose. Christian Roseboom has tightened his angles in recent weeks. Trevor Etienne closes late when backs tire, and the rotation keeps legs fresh into the fourth quarter. That is how you turn long fields into punts and keep the offense in favorable scripts. There is also real upside growing on the edge. Princely Umanmielen is the rookie with burst who learns every week, and when Tershawn Wharton has been healthy, he has sparked interior pressure that moves quarterbacks off spots. Add in timely plays from DJ Wanham, including a takeaway that flipped momentum, and the front seven looks organized and hungry. The next layer is just as important. When a front controls gaps, the secondary can play on time, and Carolina's back end has started to look like a true backbone. That is where the story goes now, to J.C. Horn and a safety duo that has settled the entire structure. Carolina Panthers have built a secondary that finally looks complete. J.C. Horn is the centerpiece, a corner who wins isolation battles and erases top targets before they can breathe. His ability to read leverage, bait throws, and close space gives the defense a shutdown element that changes coverage calls. When he locks down one side, the safeties are free to disguise and rotate without fear. That freedom is what has turned this group into a quiet strength of the team. Trevon Moehrig has brought a veteran calm to the back end, taking smart angles and cleaning up anything that leaks through the first two levels. Alongside him, rookie Lathan Ransom keeps flashing range and discipline beyond his experience. His instincts against Miami showed why the staff trusts him with bigger snaps each week. Together, they've cut off the deep middle and forced quarterbacks to check down, which keeps the pass rush honest and the linebackers in position to attack. This chemistry has made the entire defense more balanced. Corners press with confidence, safeties close fast, and communication has become a weapon. Opponents who once tested the seams now look elsewhere because the risk feels too high. That quiet fear is how you know a secondary is winning. And with this foundation in place, the final step for Carolina is proving that all this progress can travel. The next stop is the road, and that is where the Panthers must show their identity is more than a home field surge. What happens next will shape the next stretch of the season. Beat the Jets and Carolina moves to 4-3, setting up crucial games against Buffalo and Green Bay with belief instead of doubt. Lose, and the questions return. This is the point where every lesson from the last 6 weeks must hold together. The run discipline, the protection, the defensive toughness, and the quiet leadership that's grown inside this locker room. The Panthers do not need flash. They need validation. And if they find it in New York, the rest of the league will have to start taking them seriously.